Welcome to Be Our Guest, our weekly virtual happy hour with industry professionals. I'm Janki, Artistic Director of Live and in Color. We are an artist-serving organization dedicated to developing new stage works that promote and celebrate diversity. Please consider making a donation to Live and in Color today to support our artists who continue to make socially inclusive and bold work during this time. Just go to liveandincolor.org. Now, grab your cocktail and start leaving questions for our guest in the comments. Please welcome an incredible actor, director, and choreographer. You'll recognize him from the original company of Once on This Island. He was in Chicago, Anything Goes, Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Please say hello to the one and only mayor of Broadway, Gerry McIntyre.
Hey, cheers.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Ooh, today's a full day for Daddy.
Oh, yeah? First of all, where are you calling in from?
I'm in Manhattan. I didn't want to tell my location because I get nervous.
You know, all your stalkerazzi, all your fans will be showing up.
Well, that's the thing about it. Well, I got hacked the other day, Dad, like 2 days ago.
No.
It was bananas. And it has been like trying to get all my information back because they hack your stuff.
Yeah.
And then you don't get the emails. So I woke up yesterday and I had one email, which was my favorite part, that only one email got through, and it was Broadway World.
Oh my God.
Of course
they get through no matter what.
They don't care how whatever's happening, Broadway World will get through. So today, I'm not the best on the computer. So today, I've just been trying to get my email back because they put it in an archive thing. It's bananas. Like, I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
It's crazy.
I'm glad you made it to us. It's you know.
Oh my God. I was like, come hell or high water. I'll be here to see the people.
Well, thank you for joining me. I adore you and I'm such a big fan and we've known each other for many, many years.
True story. True story.
Is New York home for you originally, or where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jersey. I was born in Grenada in the West Indies.
Yeah.
And then my parents moved when I was 4 years old. And then I grew up in Jersey. I went to Montclair State. I'm a Jersey boy.
Okay.
Really. I'm a really Jersey boy. And then I lived in New York for 10 years. And then I went to LA for 10 years because I wanted to be a huge TV star. And how did that go?
Well, now you're a huge Broadway star.
Yes. I had to come home.
You have had an incredible career in so many parts of the industry. How did you first get into the arts? How did you start out as an actor? What was the germ of that?
I went. This is a crazy story. I was living in New Jersey, watching TV one day, and I saw the commercial for Pippin, and it was Ben Vereen doing the Manson Trio. And it said, these are the first 15 seconds of Pippin if you want to see
the rest. I remember that commercial.
Remember?
Of course.
And I was in East Orange, New Jersey, eating this. I remember so vividly. I was eating a TV dinner. And it was the fried chicken one, with that horrible apricot cobbler in the corner, he's like, oh, this is great. Mashed potatoes and those vegetables which were very dicey. It was that corn.
Of course, yes.
Vegetables. So, and then I saw that commercial and I was like, wait a minute, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. And then I went to tell my parents I want to go to school to do this. They said, oh, you know what, you need something to fall back on. So we'll pay for you to go 4 years of college. So I went to Montclair State. And I did 4 years of college, and I couldn't wait to get out because college was great for me because I was young and not ready to move to New York City. But I was getting the roles of the servant, and I never got to have a real big part after spending all that money, my parents' money, and 4 years of college. So I went to New York City. And then I started to take class at Phil Black's in New York on 50th.
LA, right?
Oh, New York.
In New York, yeah.
In New York. It was Charlotte Dubois was in class, Lisa Mordente, Cheetah would show up sometimes, Greg Burge. So I kind of learned how to do it by just coming to New York City. And my senior year, of college, I decided to be in the show and to be the president of the student union. So I became the president. I said, we're going to do Pippin. I'm going to be the leading player. And then I invited the people from the Irene Ryan Award, and I won it. So,
wow.
I mean, I was like Barbara Streisand.
That's what I think of when I think of you, Gerry, is Babs and Gerry.
So, I mean, I'm telling people who are listening who want to do it, don't wait. Don't wait for anybody, because you're going to be waiting all your life. Don't wait for anybody. I was like, there is no way that I'm not going to be on Broadway. There was absolutely no way. When my parents said, oh, you need something to fall back on, I'm like, fall back on? There's nothing, I don't need that. So,
so I have two questions. Do you remember what the first Broadway show is you saw when you finally got to see a show?
My mother took me to see Chorus Line.
Of course.
And
life-changing, right?
I mean, it's life-changing.
For all of us.
and I went back to East Orange, New Jersey. I put a towel around my waist, and I started to do the Cassie dance. Now, Dan, let me just tell you one thing. I was 300 pounds. So the towel was around, like, I couldn't even get it around my waist. That's how bad it was. But I decided to re-choreograph it and add some gymnastics.
I would have loved to see that.
just in my bedroom, and my mother's just like, she's completely has no idea where it came from, because she's a nurse. She was a nurse, and my father worked in the shipping as a supervisor. So they're like, why are you doing cartwheels in a towel in your bedroom and being very loud?
Oh my God.
So crazy. And
that you were destined. And what was your first Broadway show?
I did a show called Uptown It's Hot. And
yes.
As it turns out, it was not. It was at the Lunfontaine starring Maurice Hines. Mm-hmm. And we danced our butt off. We danced. We did, I call it Black choreography, because we, as Black people, I feel that this is a thing that we have to do more. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like that subtle, simple choreography, we're tap dancing. The number was like from the Cotton Club. The girls were sliding down a white slide. And one of the girls was Rhonda LaShawn Sapp. If you know who that is. She was one of the girls. It was so much fun. We danced. There was an African number. There was a Stevie Wonder number. We danced our butt off. There was oxygen in the wings. That's how good it was. I'm gonna say it's not bad. It was a lot, and Mercedes Ellington was the associate. So we danced a lot. It lasted 2 weeks.
Are you on the wall at Joe Allen? Is it one of those?
No, it's not. We didn't make the wall, which is
it has to be less than that, right?
Exactly. But the peg was right before us, and that's on the wall, and that's like a minute. But we didn't make the wall.
Well, that must have been so hard as a young person, to have that. It's always devastating when a show closes, but your Broadway debut,
right? And you know what? No one told me, when you go to school, it's like, they say how to get to Broadway. They don't tell you what happens when it crashes and burns. I had no idea. And of course, it was my first Broadway show. So I was going with my friend Lavette, who was in the show, Lavette George, and we would go shopping every day. It just like, when we closed, I had no money. Not a penny.
For sure. You thought you were going to have that Broadway paycheck for at least a year.
And sweet, I was like, wait a minute. I said, you give yourself a time limit. I was like, if I don't get up Broadway in 5 years, then I'm out. And then I got on the first year I got here. I'm like, I'm a legend, kids. Don't sleep. and then I was a broke legend. There was
post the show, you really forged an amazing career for yourself. I mean, one of my all-time favorites is you were in the original cast of Once in This Island, which there you are. I think I saw you maybe like 6 times that show. It was one of those moments in Broadway history that I think for all of us was so special, an entirely POC cast, you know, the music, the choreography. I mean, what do you remember about being part of that show, and what was that experience like?
I'm going to start from the beginning. So I auditioned for the workshop of it.
Yeah.
At Playwrights Horizons first, and then I got Papa Gay, and then I got Annie 2, the musical. That was going, you know.
Which I saw you in as well.
Oh my God. And I got the part of Punjab. So, and it was, you know, kind of a huge thing. It was huge. It was and, you know, I had in my contract, I had house seats. I had, you know, like I had like billing. I had all those things that you finally wanted. I was like, oh, that little Once on This Island workshop. Dear God, thank you. Tell them all I said thank you. And so I go to Washington, D.C. I come back after the 7 million, I don't even remember how many millions of dollars they lost and closed. And, you know, we had our marquee up at the Marriott Marquis. So I even came in on my day off, and I went to the Marriott Marquis. I have a picture of me outside. It was like, I think I was featuring, you know, just me and the Asp, Punjab and the Asp. And then I was like, oh my God, what could go wrong? And everything went wrong. So I came back with my tail between my legs, and Alan Filderman, the casting director, said, we lost a person playing Armand for the off-Broadway production. At Playwrights, would you consider coming in and auditioning again? You see how life is. You see how life just goes, okay, you think you're cute? You're not that cute. So I went, I auditioned. I had to do, you know, it was they never saw me before. You know,
wow.
I walked into Playwrights. It was Lynn, Steve, and Grazi, and everyone was really quiet. So I had to, I came in and I apologized first. I apologized. But you know, it was like $300 compared to
Sure, it's the biz.
And it's show business. But they made me go, they made me do the song, do it again, and then do the monologue. I'm like, oh, I see. A little groveling. I groveled, groveled well enough. And then I got to do it at Playwrights, and then we moved to Broadway, and then Graziella Danielle, who is my savior, said, would you be the dance captain? And I was like, I don't want, why? And she's like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. You have something. I see something in you that the other cast members don't have, and I think it would be great for you down the line in the future. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I became the dance captain, and then I put every single person in the show. I put Norm Lewis in the show. I put Lilias White in the show. I put every single person in the show. And so it opened the door for me to direct and choreograph. And then I did, you know, after the show closed, I did every production, which was I call myself the Black Bjork Lee. I was
love it.
I was everywhere, which was fantastic. So that opened the door. And then I got to do stage the 20-year reunion.
Yes, which was incredible at the Winter Garden.
At the Winter Garden, I have to tell you, never in my career have I experienced such love from anyone. We walked on stage. I was like, we had our things. I said, you guys, let's just say, stand on the edge of the stage at the Winter Garden, and we'll just acknowledge the people as you do, the people, and then you'll go to our places and start the show. We got to the edge of the stage, and we couldn't move. The audience stood up, and they wouldn't stop clapping.
Yeah, because the show, people have such love for the show, and it's always such a visceral experience seeing that show, and
right,
it really is to me one of my top 10 in my life.
That's
I think for a lot of people it is.
I think so too. I met so many friends who said to me, that was playing in my dorm when I met my lover, and that was our wedding song, Human Heart.
Yeah.
You just do the gig. You just stand on stage and you do the gig, and you're like going, I didn't know. And people were after 20 years had programs from Playwrights Horizons. They were like, this is my favorite show. I can't begin to tell you how much I love it, and to see. I was like, I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed by that love. It really was.
And how wonderful to be part of that legacy.
Yes.
So you can, before we get to the directing and choreography, you continue to have a career on Broadway. You got to play Judah in the big revival of Joseph and Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat on Broadway.
Yeah.
And you went to star in the film as well. What was that experience like getting to perform the role on Broadway and then having to do it for a camera rather than an audience?
This is one of those things that I was like, I can't believe that this happened. I was doing Once in the Silent on the tour, and they called me in to come audition for Judah, in this thing, and I'm like singing this West Indian song. I'm like, oh, okay. And I remember it was my day off, and I think I don't know why in my brain I think that we were opening in Cleveland. I see Cleveland, so I'm going to stick with it. So I had the day off and I had to fly to Cleveland. So I was like, okay. So I went to the Minskoff. That was the good old days when you audition on the stage.
Uh-huh.
So I get there and I'm just, you can't see people. It's very like, Fanny Price, Mr. Ziegfeld. And, they're like, what do you want to do? I said, I'm going to just sing the song. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of don't know the words, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I get up there, I sing the first thing, and I'm like, Ibanaba ikapata ikapa ikata zoba, and they're just cracking up, and I'm like, we think you're fantastic. Can you stand dance? I'm like, I can't stand dance. I'm so sorry. I have to go to the airport. I have to open Once in the Silent Cleveland. They're like, oh, okay. Thank you so much. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I spent all this money to go to this damn audition. By the time I got back to the airport, I had gotten the show, and my agent said they want you to be in the show. And I was like, I should mess up more often.
Amazing.
And then we do it with Michael Damian in LA, and then it comes to Broadway, and then they're talking about doing a film, and I was like, in London, I'm like, oh, that's never gonna happen. And then I get a call from my agent. They said they wanted you to come out to London and film it with only 3 Americans. So it was Jeff Blumenkrantz, me, and Bob Torty. And I was like, and then you're like all of a sudden in the show with all the other people who didn't get it. It was, but that's the part that was like, I'm going to London to film the Joseph movie at Pinewood Studios for 2.5 months. I'll see you later. It was amazing. Oh,
was it in the middle of the run? You were in the show at the time?
I was in Chicago at the time.
You were in Chicago at the time.
I was in Chicago at the time.
It would be awful if Joseph was still running at that time.
Right? But Joseph was running in London.
Okay.
So the guy who's playing Judah in London is like,
oh no,
what the hell? What the hell? What about me? But it was literally one of those things. Anthony Van Lass was the choreographer.
Yeah.
He just got me, and then Andrew, I don't know. Sir Andrew just liked me, I guess. I don't know, because I just I try to stay out of the way and not be.
Well, Gerry, everyone loves you. I mean, hence, I'm curious. You are known as the mayor of Broadway. And I'm just curious how that title came about.
Oh my God, this is like so many stories. I was doing Anything Goes with my friend Patti LuPone.
Yes.
And which is also the funny thing today about being hacked. I get fun when I get my emails. I get a message from Patti LuPone. You've been hacked, doll. I'm like, thanks, Patty. Thanks for the help. But so we're doing Anything Goes, and we go to this restaurant called Wilson on 79th Street. That's where was our hangout. It was us and like the basketball players and people from Saturday Night Live. So it was my 30th birthday party. Everyone was there. It was like every dancer and every person in the world comes. And then all of a sudden, Jerome Robbins walks in. Because I knew him. And people were like, you know everybody. You're like the mayor of Broadway. Nick Corley said it to me, and from that, it was my 30th.
Wow, Nick Corley dubbed you that.
Yes, indeed. I am not 30 any longer, so you know how long it's been going on. I'm about to be 59.
I mean, everyone's called you that. It's amazing how that news spreads very quickly, but it suits you so well because one day maybe you need to go into politics because that's.
Oh my God, not now.
Not now.
Not now. It's scaring me right now. But yes, I would
Well,
like.
you really are, such an integral part of this community. And, you've gone on to direct and choreograph many productions, wonderful productions. I want to jump to your most recent huge success was choreographing the outdoor in-person production of Godspell at the Berkshire Theater Group.
Yeah.
There's a picture of you with your gang.
Yes.
You put on in the height of COVID. Talk about that whole process. It got a lot of attention. It was so exciting. But what was that whole experience like?
It was, I'm gonna start with the fact that we did it. It got extended. No one got sick. That's how I'm gonna start the story about it, because it's like the achievement of it is that to me. Yeah. Getting there was not that easy. It was, we were having meetings with Equity and then the Berkshires and then the governor of Massachusetts. It was that hard thing. And then SDC. It was like, it was a yes, a no, a maybe, a no, and a yes, and then a no. So that was that was the journey of the thing. It was like, okay, we're doing it. And then it was like, we had 3 weeks rehearsal. And then by the time I got to go, it was 2 weeks to rehearsal. I had 4 days to choreograph it. And, there's partitions with plastic stuff that we put up. And then I had to, if you're going to move to a new place with the 10 cast member, you have to put your mask on so that you can travel. And then you have to travel to move the partition. So I was talking to the music director. I'm like, dude, I said, I'm going to need 2 more concerts, 8, just to get to the place before we start the number. And it was, Deb, it's like, it was mostly math. It was a lot of math to figure out. It's like, okay. And then you can't have Godspell, the normal Godspell. So then there's a pandemic. So you can't pretend that there isn't.
Yeah.
So like for All for the Best, I had Jesus do that, like put a little sanitizer in his hand first. When you feel sad, and he rubs the sanitizer, then he puts the gloves on, he put the mask on, and instead of a cane, I used a yardstick. So they did 6 feet apart, the social distancing. And then you have to think about every number has to be different and interesting because we can't touch. And we're doing Godspell. And you can't touch anybody.
The whole show is about connection, right?
It's all about connecting. So I figured out, I made every number like a thing, like all good gifts. I use sign language. You Are the Light of the World. I used a tambourine number. Turn Back on Man was like a Fosse number. Like, so everything had a little pastiche about it, so that we wouldn't just be sitting there 6 and 10 feet apart. Like,
well, it was a huge success, and it's miraculous that you were able to bring live theater to the masses in the middle of everything. So few people could do that. I mean, you really set the bar for the possibility of doing theater in a new way.
It was, the wild thing was too that the New York Times was with us from the beginning.
Yeah.
So the guy, the writer is sitting, the reporter is sitting behind me, and coming up to me and say, "Well, why? What's going on? Why are you doing this?" That pressure of the New York Times. And then Equity is chiming in on, okay, we feel that this is not safe enough. So then the first day I had to choreograph 2 of the opening 2 numbers because it wasn't safe enough, which I was like, I was completely in. I wanted everyone to be safe. If anyone felt that they were too close or something, I was like, absolutely, we'll change it. Absolutely, we'll change it. And everyone was so sweet. Everyone was like, our cast, we got together, we bonded, we were in the bubble, we did all this stuff, and we stayed together and we learned together. There's a little times you get a little snarky because it's the opposite of what we do. I couldn't.
I also think, artists and are very resilient and innovative. Like, we will create any way we can. So I think, it was just so exciting to hear about, and I wish I could have seen it, but I heard so many great things. So congratulations.
Thank you. And Steven Schwartz came, and he wept. He came back to stage, and this is the final performance. So I hadn't hugged anybody.
Yeah.
So the show is over. I go backstage to hug them, and the cast, all of them just enveloped me, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that. It was so wild. And then Steven started to talk about the show, and he's like, and then he just choked up and couldn't finish his sentence. He was like, "I'm so moved. I didn't think I would be moved. I thought I was going to be seeing like a Godspell with a condom." It's like, it's like who wants to see safe Godspell? It's like, and he was so moved just because of the sheer tenacity of that cast.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so
such an inspiration to everyone.
So amazing.
So the work we do at Live and in Color, our mission is to connect diverse communities to create new stage works. I always ask our guests of this: what does having an inclusive working environment mean to you? I'm the associate artistic director of the York Theater Company. Jim Morgan and Evans Hale are the artistic directors, and they asked me to be on, they asked me to come on board. And in the beginning, I was like, I feel, when I said to Jim, I was like, I feel tokeny, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I understand why you asked me, and I appreciate it because you trust me in being able to get information that's new information. The York it's the Upper East Side. Their audience is a clientele. It's like, I'm doing this thing called Unsung with BIPOC artists. I'm trying to get I'm doing in the pipeline. I'm trying to get new Black artists and musicals out there because that's why you got me. It is not even anymore like, oh, maybe we should have it. It is a necessity. It is important, and we must do it. We must do it. There's no other choice these days. We cannot live in this world of like, oh my God, I don't see myself on stage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can't. I listen. I'm so old now. It's like, I went to see. When you go to see Bright Star on Broadway, there's not a person of color. You don't even have a Spanish part. Like, you don't even have like a light Egyptian person. What is up with you? You cast a Broadway show. It's deplorable to me. You know what I mean? So I'm not standing for it anymore. And I feel that, it's empowering now. And we have the strength. And we've had it before, but now we have so much more information. How do you think, moving ahead, coming out of this pandemic, hopefully soon, how do you think we can continue to create more access for BIPOC artists, both young and old, and continue this momentum? Because I do feel it. I worry that people will not continue along with it, that it's just sort of a...
Yes. I see what you mean. I feel, I feel it's not... I feel it's going to stick. There's and unfortunately, it all started with the George Floyd. Unfortunately, that was the impetus of it. But I think that it's not going to go away because now it's like, we're here and we see you. Now we see it. Like, Dev, I'm going to tell you that the Walnut Street has never had a person of color direct and choreograph the show. Ever. Goodspeed, Opera House. Never a Black person like anybody to direct and choreograph. It is not, of course, me. I just emailed them, just like, because that's how we're going to change it. I can't.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't sit and talk about it and be like, you know what they don't do? I have to sit and behind this computer and write about it and see what happens. You know what I mean? It's like, if I just keep complaining about it, nothing will happen. We have to talk about it and go to the person in charge and go, this is what I see. I looked at all the directors and choreographers. I saw no one of color at all. And it's not okay.
Definitely.
We have to be proactive. And I think I hope it's going to, because I can't see ourselves getting complacent again.
No. Well, keep up the good fight. I think we have some questions from our viewers. Let's see.
I like questions.
Lori Duran says, I saw your production of Kinky Boots at the Hangar Theater. What was your favorite part about being in Ithaca? Oh, lovely Ithaca. We've both worked at the Hangar many times.
Oh my God, I loved Ithaca. I didn't know it was so artsy and delicious. Like, I would walk down the street, I'm like, oh my God, like these people, like, it was hippie-esque and delicious. Like there was no, everything was really chill, and I loved it. And the audiences were like, they want to talk about inclusion and all this stuff with the talkbacks. It was like, who are these people? I didn't know, the people there are so smart and chill about it. And, people walk, gay is not even an issue. Like, none of any of that is an issue. You're walking down the street holding hands with somebody. It's like, no one is going to look at you or turn around. It's like, it's so amazing that is there to me. And I love working there. It's such a great
Hang
time.
is an incredible place.
And Kinky Boots was so much fun.
I'm sure.
Oh my God.
I heard the production was incredible. So
this is great time.
Let's take another question. Nicole Lembo says, what is your favorite dance number from any of the shows you have been in?
The Overture and All That Jazz from Chicago.
Wow.
That it starts with that story I told you before when I was 300 pounds. So that's how, when you like, I get the show and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do, like, I have to, you have to feel sexy. You have to, like, I never felt sexy in that way. Like in, a William Ivy Long tight shirt and thing and a Jimmy Borsom and cummerbund. I was like, oh my God. So then I got on stage like, wah, wah, wah. I'm like, I am living my life. This is the most amazing thing. And then it's, then it's All That Jazz. So
of course.
Yeah. That's
right. I think we have time for one more.
Okay.
Anna Howard says, how do you choose what you want to direct?
I get it usually from, I don't get it from my agents usually, which is another story altogether. But I usually get an offer and someone finds me or whatever the deal is. And I said, what you want to do and want to direct it. And I usually, I read it first. And then I'm like, it has to have inclusion. It has to have people of color. It has to be interesting. And I have to feel that I can add something to it. Someone asked me to do something with a 3-person show and just stage it and think. I was like, you don't need me. You're going to waste your money on me because you need some, I have so much to offer being a director and a choreographer. So when I even do a play, there's movement in it somehow. There's, I just always incorporate that because that's my, my DNA. So I think to be picky is a good thing these days, even though there's not much, but to be picky so that when you come and you show off the thing that you love and it's good and changing things, then it makes a statement.
Well, I am your biggest fan, and I love anything you do. We are out of time, but before we go, for our audience, please consider supporting our organization by going to liveincolor.org to donate. All money raised goes towards our amazing artists and developing their new work. Also, be sure to tune in to be our guest next week when I talk to Obie Award-winning actress from the Pulitzer Prize-winning A Strange Loop, the extraordinary Elle Morgan Lee. It's going to be an extraordinary conversation.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Thank you, my dear friend Gerry, for joining me. Would you mind leading us in a little toast as we say goodbye?
Yes. Here, Deb, thank you so much for asking me. And first of all, thank God for Dive 106 and Howie. Yes. Thank God. and I want to toast to Broadway coming back and being able to share art again. That's what I want to toast to. We're going to be able to do it very soon, and I cannot wait.
Hear, hear.
Cheers, my friend.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you.